These are good days. Everything is going good with everything, 'cause these are good days. It's going good with everything, it's going good with everything. And I know that because these are good days. Everything is going good with everything, 'cause these are good days. Good days. Good days.
Welcome to These Are Good Days with Leanne Miller.
And Matt Barris.
Well, Matt, are you ready for the turkey?
I am so ready.
Are you ready to celebrate Thanksgiving?
It's coming.
Okay,
It's so soon.
What's like one big thing right off the top of your head that you're thankful for?
Oh, my family.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Mallory, my kids, my mom.
Yeah.
I mean, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
family.
people for me.
It's good. Yeah, people.
It's
Oh,
people.
yeah, me too. I'm also very thankful for my home.
Yes.
Thankful for my home. I'm thankful for my new deck. I'm thankful. I'm just thankful for, you're right, my people.
It's people.
Yeah. So that just leads me into my good day. The people are home. All the people are home.
All your
Teddy,
people.
his new fiance. I love you. I love
You
saying
love saying that.
that. Teddy and MG and Joey, they're all home. And so every day that's happening, I mean, listen, there's a dog and 2 cats that come with MG and Teddy.
It's
So
big-
it
that's
is
a
a
big
little,
commitment.
it's a little, I mean, we have a little house and Mr. Butters is not thrilled,
Yeah.
but
But he's on Prozac.
but he's on Prozac, and I have to say Prozac makes him a different cat.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all there, and it's just, all the things come. I kind of love it. I kind of love
Yeah.
and then by the time everybody goes home, everybody's ready to go home. I'm ready for things to
Yeah.
get back to normal, but it's wonderful.
What does it look like when everybody comes? Does your house explode a little bit?
A little bit. But Molly Belen, our friend Molly, she said one of her favorite things about coming to my house is when she gets there, everything is just cozy and welcoming and ambient and little treats. And I usually like to have a treat for you
guests.
at the end of your bed or on the nightstand or whatever. And then she's like, and then you just kind of let your house fall apart
You
while
do.
guests are there. And everybody just and I do think that puts people at ease.
Totally.
I do not chase around people picking things up and
No.
and
Yes.
our boys tend to they'll take their socks off and they're not going to put them on the table or anything, but they'll
Right.
take their socks off and they'll be by the couch or
Right.
and I don't do a
You
bunch
don't
of
nag
pickup.
'em or
Now
pick
I
'em.
will say if they are home like 3 or 4 days, there has to be a little bit of a
reset?
a little bit of a roundup because what
Yeah.
I'm worried about if it gets too cluttery or too messy is that they're going to leave things.
Yeah.
Like I'll have a pile of things that they left.
We're the
And
same way.
And I don't like to ship things back to people.
No.
I want nothing to do with that.
No. Yeah, you don't love a task.
No, I don't.
You don't love an errand. You don't love anything required of you.
I don't.
You live
I
a
don't-
very free
Listen,
life.
I don't. Recently, Carlos Whitaker sent me. I had to laugh. About a little over a week ago, Carlos Whitaker. I get this package in the mail, and it has this return address. Very neat print. And I'm like, this is a package from Carlos. And it felt like it was probably books. 5 books, no note, no instructions, no anything. Just 5 books from Carlos.
Did you figure out what they're for?
Oh no, then I put it on Instagram and he messaged me right back. He said, "You're right, classic Carlos." I said to my assistant, Wendy from Wisconsin, "Hey, send Leanne Miller some books. Send her about 5."
That's
And he
hilarious.
sent me 5 books. So I thought, I'm gonna give those books away. But you know what else I said? I don't want to mail them, so I'm gonna give them to local people, and they need to come by my house
Because you don't
or
want
meet
a task.
me. They either need to meet me at Sure House or Boo Bear's Coffee or come to my front porch because I don't want to mail them.
Yeah.
You know this from the mug
Oh
situation.
my goodness.
When we sold out of mugs 14 times and the whole
What
mug
a time
thing.
in life.
What a time in life. I said, what did I say to you? We can sell mugs, but I want nothing to do with the shipping. Nothing. Do you know how many people over the course of almost 26 years at the inn would call and I would have to mail things like laptops. I would have to mail
Slippers.
so many phone chargers,
Oh yeah.
slippers, sweater, a cardigan my grandmother gave me. I mean, shopping stuff. Like I had my shopping bags. I would have to go to no, I don't want to ship anymore.
Well, it sounds like you have a little trauma.
I'm done with shipping.
Yeah, you're done.
I'm done.
This is the year that you say no to shipping.
Listen, before we started recording this, I asked you, Matt, do you have a cough drop? And you said, I might have a cough drop. And you got me a cough drop, and I've never in my life had a Ricola. I've seen the commercials, but I've never had them. This is a delicious
My
cough
kids
drop.
love them. My
It's a
kids love
delicious
Ricola.
You know, I used to love those Lundens or Lundens.
Yeah, but those are candy.
They're kind of
Those aren't real cough drops. My parents wouldn't let us buy that.
Really?
Yeah, they said they were just candy.
Well,
Halls is the one.
Halls
Those
is
have
so-
menthol.
Halls is so mentholy that it almost gets a little too like I feel like I need to go. But the Ricola, it's delicious.
Ricola.
It's really good. I don't
They're
know what's
made.
in.
It's the Swiss Alps.
Is there honey in them?
Yeah, there's honey in it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I
it's
hope it helps with your cough. You have that wheezy cough.
Well, you know, Matt, it's when you make me laugh. If you make me laugh, I start to wheeze. And then when I start to wheeze, I start to cough. And it's hard to get control over it once
Listen,
it gets a little out of
if
hand.
you give a mouse a cookie,
I know.
if you give
What's
Leanne
your
a
good
cough
day?
drop. I'm glad you asked, Leanne. I've been waiting. You know, we are in the middle of Hygge. The chime change has
Yes,
happened.
yes,
The lights are on.
yes.
And you know, it's been a while that I've had one of these days. I feel like our life in the last, we were just talking about this before we started this podcast. We have been busy.
Busy.
The Barrises have been busy.
Yes,
we
you
have 3 kids. Work's been busy for
Been
both of
running
us.
around
We've
all
been
over
running.
Ohio.
Yes,
You've been going up to
fucking
Cleveland
Dayton,
Playhouse,
Cleveland,
Dayton,
Akron,
yeah. What's
all
going
the
on?
places. So, you know, we had one of those nights. This is kind of what our nights look like when we have nothing going on. Our nights look like us cooking a meal at home. My kids most regularly, once a week, request us to make salmon, which I think is hilarious.
It's adorable.
My kids are loving salmon these days. So we make
Where
salmon.
do you get your salmon?
You know, Leanne,
Aldi has good salmon.
we're not big on any specific place.
You'll
Where the deals are is where you will find us.
Well, I love also the salmon at Bueller's.
Yeah.
And here in town. Bueller's and Aldi's, if you are listening.
Yeah, Bueller's.
But Aldi usually has a beautiful, big, long fillet of salmon. Very nice.
So we love, Mallory makes like different sauces that she
Yeah,
rubs
I
on
love
it, like
that,
with
yeah.
Dijon mustard sometimes, or
Yes.
soy sauce,
mayonnaise.
or mayonnaise, all the things. So we have just had a couple normal nights at home.
Yes.
And you know, as
Love
we head
those.
into the holiday season, it is so good for our family just to have like a get home from work. Sometimes my kids will put on their pajamas right away. If they know we're staying home, we'll make dinner together. And
Yes.
then they typically want to watch, you know what show they are loving? The Masked Singer. Have you ever watched this?
Yes, I have.
My kids love that show. And you know what's hilarious?
It's okay for me.
Yeah, they don't know any of the celebrities, but they
That's
think
a-
it's funny.
Yeah, they think it's funny, and you know the costumes are really good.
The costumes are
Yeah,
cool.
they're
So
good.
they like that. So
Do you ever watch Dancing with the Stars?
no, I don't believe in it. It's just like,
Okay,
it's just
I've
a lot.
never watched it.
It feels like a commitment.
Listen, I've never watched it, and I've seen clips of it and commercials and that kind of thing, but I've never watched a season.
Yeah.
But Ilona, is that Ilona, the rugby Olympian?
Oh, yeah.
I started following her on Instagram
Mhm.
before the Olympics, like a while ago, a
Mhm.
long time ago, because she had made this post about her broad shoulders and
Yeah.
being a bigger girl, or she's just very physically fit and just
Yeah,
a
she
very
could beat me
yeah,
up.
she is an athlete,
Yeah,
like
no doubt.
all-star athlete. Well, she's an Olympian,
Right.
and she's a
Some might even
and-
say she's an Olympian.
yeah, and she's a rugby player.
Right.
And she is on Dancing with the Stars this season.
Good
and
for her.
I am such a fan from Instagram. I'm like, I'm watching. And for the first time in my life ever, I have voted for on Dancing with the Stars. I have
You,
voted. And I can
56 years old, voting for TV
listen,
shows.
and if I'm allowed 10 votes for her, I'm voting all 10 times.
Wow.
Because I love her. I love what she is modeling for young girls.
Yes.
I love what she's modeling for the 5th grader that might have a few extra little pounds, so that feels like she's made fun of, or
Yeah.
whatever that might look like.
Yeah.
She is just setting a tone for being a an athlete that's full figured and really proud of it. She's
Totally.
proud of her body. She's proud of what her body can do. I have loved watching Dancing with the Stars.
Well, you know what? I support that for you.
Thank you.
That is your journey, and that is not my journey. I won't watch
Do
that.
you watch The Golden Bachelor?
No, and I
or
knew you were-
Bachelorette?
No,
Okay, all right.
no.
Okay,
no,
see, I
no,
watched
no.
The Golden Bachelorette, and I watched The Golden Bachelor. I was
No.
very disappointed.
No.
Very disappointed because The Golden Bachelor married the woman, and then in 3 months got divorced. It was disappointing. Very
Well,
disappointing.
I don't know what we expect.
I
it's
mean,
TV.
I just want it to be true.
I know you do. And that's, what I love about you. You are such an eternal optimist. And that's why we're friends. That's what keeps this friendship alive. Hey, we're heading into a very interesting season in all of our lives. Not only is there hype around the holidays, but there's a lot of demands on us. There's a lot of expectations. Maybe depending on what type of job you're in, work is really busy right now. And
Oh, it's so
truthfully,
true.
our family expectations of us often are ramped up.
Yeah.
And it can
right.
be really hard. We have come, I would say in the last 12 years, politics has heightened up, has made family relationships really challenging.
Conversations really hard.
Yes, had made conversations hard. Politics, for sure, has been a big part of that. Issues of civil rights have been really challenging. And just in general, decorum around how we treat each other as humans, I feel like has been evolving and changing in a new and different way.
It's true.
Also, in a positive way, I feel like mental health has become more prevalent. We talk about it more freely. I feel like more people are willing to say, in the last 12 years, are willing to say that they see a counselor and talk to a therapist.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So all of these things are happening, which are all great things.
And I don't ever remember a time in my life when I have heard people in their 20s openly talk about their therapists and counseling like they do now.
Yes.
I've never remembered a time period where that's happened.
I agree with that.
And one time, and this is recent, within the last 6 months, I was talking about counseling on my Instagram, and a lady older than me, and I think she would have probably been late 60s, early 70s, came into my DMs, and she's like, I just get so tired of hearing all these young kids talk about counseling and therapy. In my day and age, you just suck it up and you just be tough and keep going. And I might have even mentioned this on another podcast before about this message. And it was really kind of, it was really the mindset of what I feel has been historically the case for counseling.
Yeah.
Is that people older than me, like my parents' generation, are like, didn't go to therapy.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as going to counseling. You only did that if you were in dire straits, like if you were maybe addicted to drugs, or you were an alcoholic, or you were abusive to your family. That was the only reason you went to therapy. You didn't go to therapy for things like anxiety.
Right.
And this lady was like, all these kids with anxiety, they just need to, get to work and buckle up their bootstraps. And, and I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but I also feel like if people are willing to say, I need help in this area, and they're willing to go to a professional, just like we go to a doctor if we have diabetes, or if we're not feeling well, or if we have, I don't know, if we have a problem with our skin, we go to the doctor.
Right.
We get help. In the same way, if you feel like you need help inside your head and your heart, to go to a professional, I think it's admirable. I think it's wonderful.
Right.
I think it's a good thing.
To that end, I feel like we have language that is a common language that we are all speaking.
Yes.
So this individual, while I don't share her sentiments around therapy, she has gained a language around mental health that she didn't have before.
Right.
So even though she doesn't subscribe to maybe how I would think about it, that generation of people and certain pockets of places around the country might not even have language around mental health. And so listen, she's coming. She's coming along.
And also I think when you're given more time to watch those people, you go, oh, you know what? This is helping.
Right.
This is and I think I also think that if you have people within your family, and this goes for around the holidays, if you have people in your immediate circle, you go to holidays and you're like, I'm going to holidays, but my uncle, my cousin, my whoever, even maybe parents, it's so hard for me to be around them. And you establish some boundaries. There are definitely people in certain generations that are like boundaries. Ugh.
Totally.
All these kids talking boundaries. And the truth is, if you don't understand a boundary, you're going to feel that way.
Right.
Or if a boundary is put in place that you don't like you are definitely going to say negative things about that boundary. So I just want to encourage people that if you are placing boundaries, if you are putting boundaries in place and they're being like, eyes are being rolled or they're being, they're kind of being poo-pooed, just really stand in, your need.
Totally.
It's what you need. A boundary is for you.
Right.
It's not, a boundary is not really as much for the other person as it is for you.
Right.
And I just want to encourage people to really hold the boundary where you think you need to hold it. And that really, I will say, it has become a buzzword. And some people do not implement and exercise boundaries in the way that they were designed.
Right. And that's where a clinical counselor will come in to help.
So if you have a clinical counselor that's like, this is a boundary, this is how you hold it, this is what it looks like. A boundary isn't just setting something because you don't want to do something.
Right. Exactly.
A boundary placed in a good way with the help of a professional will change your life.
Right. Well, truly. I do think maybe your boundary around mailing people stuff is just because you don't want to do it, but that's a different podcast. You don't necessarily have boundaries about mailing stuff to people. You just don't want to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you don't want to task.
Yeah. Well, I mean, certain tasks I'll do. I mean, certain tasks I will undertake. But mailing something, I don't like it.
It's very hard for you. Listen, as we head into the holiday season, we know that there are some things that are stressful. So I started looking up stuff as I do. Okay. And here are the top 6 things that make the holidays stressful. Are you ready?
Yes.
Stressful planning. The pressure to plan perfect gatherings or buy gifts and prepare meals just leads to overall stress and tension. The second one that's very up there is family dynamics. Long-held family dynamics, unresolved conflicts, and differing expectations can resurface during holiday gatherings. Listen, everybody wants a piece of you at the holidays.
Right.
People, if you have children, if you're married or you have other families,
right.
I know kids that have, or families that because of their situation have step grandparents and sometimes there can be 8 sets of grandparents that they want to go to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so there's a lot of family dynamics and expectations. The next one is financial strain. It's expensive. Hosting is expensive.
Listen,
buying
charcuterie boards
expensive.
are expensive.
Yeah, we hate admitting this. We did a slow fade out of Christmas cards because they are expensive. Yeah. And listen, if you want a picture of my family, I'll mail you a print from the CVS.
Right.
But Christmas cards are expensive just for Christmas. Right. Differing expectations. So disagreement about traditions or giving gifts or holiday plans can lead to tensions. If you're starting in a new family, listen, it's mother-in-law.
Oh, it's happening to us right now.
When you are starting in new families, there's expectations that, on this day they're going to be with us, and on this day they're going to be with you. That causes a lot of stress in families.
The last 2 years, Teddy and MG, our son and his new fiance, the last 2 years, they have gone to both places at Christmas.
Yeah.
To Alabama and here. And they just this year said, we are going to start doing this differently because we just can't do it. It's and it is too much.
It's too much on them.
So they're doing Thanksgiving with us this year and Christmas with her family this year. And then next year they'll go to Thanksgiving with them and Christmas with us.
We did the same thing with my sister.
And, it is one of those things that is understandable. It is hard because because of course I want to see our kids at Christmas.
Right.
So I suggested or asked them, because we are planning on watching the furry friends over Christmas. I said, after you get back from Alabama, could we come down and bring the pets back home and then have 2 nights where we celebrate with you and
Yeah.
see you? And because it really is hard to think about not seeing them at
It's hard.
all over Christmas. Yeah.
It's hard sharing. You know,
Yeah.
my sister has 2 kids, and those are my kids' only cousins. It's hard to share them with other people because I want to have that cousin experience for my kids. So we're not seeing them at Thanksgiving, but we are seeing them at Christmas, and then next year it'll flip. And that, you know, selfishly, I want them.
And they love each other.
Oh, they love each other.
They cry,
I want them.
They cry when they leave each
I
other's
know.
presents. It's
They
so
cry.
precious.
And I want selfishly, I want my sister and Reese to be at every holiday gathering with me, but I know that's not realistic.
Yeah.
And I want their life to be full with his family because they're lovely people. And I know in my rational brain that her kids need their grandparents and
it's
her
true.
kids need
Yeah,
their
yeah.
cousins. I know.
You're kind of saying that.
But
you're kind of saying that sassy.
well, yeah, but I know, but I want them.
Yes.
But I don't want them.
Yes,
I don't make them
yes,
feel
yes,
bad, but I
yes,
want them
yes,
at every holiday. But
Yes.
I can't have them.
yes,
And I have to share.
yes.
Okay, here's something else. 2 more things that make the holidays more stressful for us. Listen to this. Alcohol consumption.
Oh,
Now listen.
yeah.
The holidays are a great
I
time.
can see this. I can see this.
And you know, people love to cut loose.
Mm-hmm.
For some people, that's part of their traditions. For some people, that's part of a holiday meal. But listen, alcohol in excess any tension that you have, you might think it's lessening it. But sometimes it can make it worse because you let your inhibitions down, and you know alcohol's just not great for us.
Have you ever heard the saying,
Tell me.
"A drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts"?
No.
So
That's a good
basically, when
word.
you drink, you say some of the things you've been thinking. It's like liquid courage.
Oh, yeah, I've heard
but in
that.
a bad way.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And I think even arguments start things.
Yes.
I mean, if you lean toward fighting, being passive aggressive,
Right.
alcohol will just accentuate
it
that and
worse.
bring it out. Like have a 2 drink limit.
Yeah.
If you
Have
limit,
a Fresca.
if you limit your kids' candy on Halloween, you need to be limiting your alcohol on the holidays.
Preach.
Like, I just think, and I think if it's happened, especially if it's happened before, like, let's learn. When we know better, we do better. Thank
Totally.
you, Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey. Here's the last one. Mental health issues. So existing mental health issues for a lot of us around the holidays can be hard.
triggered, yeah.
If we have boundaries with family members, or if we've lost a family member or friend, the holidays can just be extra hard because it just brings up memories. And so we need to take care of ourselves at the holidays.
It's true.
So what do? Well, you've already kind of hit on them. I have a list.
Okay.
You know I have a list.
I know you do.
Here's in maybe 15 minutes or less.
Okay.
8 things you can do the
Okay.
day before Thanksgiving to start navigating the family dynamics during the holidays.
Okay.
Here's the first one.
Okay.
Setting boundaries. First one, right out of the chute. I know some people think the word boundaries overused, but here's what that actually means. It means communicating your limits. So letting people know, maybe it's, hey, I know that politics is something that everybody likes to talk about, but I want you to know that when I come over for Thanksgiving, I would really prefer to avoid that and just spend time together.
And let me tell you, Matt, a better way to do these things, a good way to do these things are not via text.
Yeah.
Now, some people, it's necessary to text because it starts a whole argument or conversation if it's verbal.
Right.
So if you've got to text it, this is what Maureen, my counselor, would say. You keep the emotion out and you stick to the facts.
Yeah.
And you just say, hey, I'd prefer not to talk about about politics if the conversation heads that direction. I'm letting everybody know that I'll leave the room.
Right.
Like, stick with the facts, say the facts, and that's it. If you start with the emotional part of it and you're texting, it just usually doesn't go well because
Right.
we can't read tone in text.
Right, exactly. Or if you're like, every time I come, you always do that. You know, that never works
Talking
out well.
in absolutes. Well, Maureen used to tell me that. She'd say, don't talk in absolutes to people.
Right.
Like you never, you always. It's never a good thing.
So in regards to setting boundaries, another one is practice saying no. So you can say, hey, I prefer not to talk about this. If you have a family member that tends to like ask more of you, like, hey, come over Thursday. Oh, bring pajamas and spend the night. And then more and more and more. Practice
And bring
saying
dessert
no.
and then bring dinner.
Yeah. Practice saying, I think this is all I can do.
Yeah.
And then here's the other part of setting boundaries is planning your exit strategies. If things get too heated or uncomfortable, have a plan to excuse yourself gracefully.
That's good.
You know, maybe you set a time limit to say, hey, we're going to stay till 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah,
and that's when we're going to
good.
leave, and stick to it.
Yeah,
or
that's good.
if you say, hey, your partner, the people you're with that you come with, if you say, hey, we're going to plan to stay till 8 o'clock. If things are going well, we'll talk about it and maybe we'll stay later.
Yeah.
But
good.
I think it's okay to have an exit strategy to say, hey, this is kind of our limit. So the first one's setting boundaries. The next one is choosing your battles. This is really important.
Really good. Yeah.
You know, as you enter the holidays, remember you're prioritizing relationships. So determine, is every little debate, every little word that somebody says worth talking about?
Yeah,
now, sometimes it might be, depending on what it is.
Well, you know what this makes me think about, Matt, is if all of this comes rushing to the surface and you're sitting there and you're listening to us talk and you're like, all of this rings true to my family. All of this is a thing every holiday, whatever. You have over 300 other days of the year that you can go and talk to somebody about it. So true. And you can get better, you can get help, and you can get the tools you need in order to navigate these 2 or 3 or 4 days around the holidays to make yourself healthier. Because listen, if I wouldn't have started gathering the tools of how to handle my family over not just the holidays, but relationally, I would be living a different life right now. I actually wouldn't even be in this room recording with you.
Absolutely.
So, and it was hard. It was hellish and hard, but it is beneficial to your quality of life, mentally and emotionally and spiritually, even physically. If you go find someone to talk to and navigate, if your family is so volatile that you can't hardly be around each other around the holidays, that to me is like the red flag.
100%.
Like that maybe finding someone that you can trust and that you can talk to help you at this time of year will not only help you this time of year. It's
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Okay, here's number 3. Number 3, as you're heading into the holiday season, is remember to practice active listening with the people around you. Here's the thing. I get social anxiety. I get wanting to have a good conversation. So sometimes we get wrapped up in thinking, oh, how am I going to respond to that? That can be a positive or a negative thing. But I think as we head into the holidays, you know, if you might be sitting around the table with someone that has a different perspective than you, I think seeking to understand their perspective is such a huge part of it.
Right.
Now, that might not change your mind, and that's okay.
Right.
But I think trying to understand each other and seeing other people's perspective is really, really important.
It deepens our empathy.
Absolutely.
You know, we can understand better.
Absolutely. Okay, here's the next one is focusing on shared interests. So what this means is, what are the things that we do have in common? You know, our friend Sharon McMahon, who was on our podcast, said we have more in common than we think.
Yeah, it's true.
That often we are trained to look at what makes us different. It's part of our psychology of how our brains are wired, is to look at difference.
Right.
I think it's actually a defense mechanism to keep us safe. So we're trained to be like, what's different about that person? Why do they look different? Why are they looking at me different? Why are they dressed different? But really, when we start to train our brain to look at what's the same and start to see what we do have in common with people, I think it's a game changer for our relationships. The other thing when it talks about shared interests that I thought was a great idea is having a plan to engage with people through games or activities or cooking or puzzles together or having other things. And if your family tends to just sit around and talk and it's not productive or kind, maybe start a game. Bring an activity. Focus on the kids. Do some fun stuff, because I think it's a healthy distraction.
Yes, it's good.
Here's the next one is during the holidays, just taking care of yourself. We've kind of already touched on this, but
Oh, get to bed.
yes, sleep.
Now listen,
Plan ahead.
I'm a night owl. I am a night
You
owl.
are. How's the phone going, by the way?
Still doing it, and it's great.
Oh.
Actually, you know what? I just said this to Daryl today. Having the phone in a separate room, this is crazy what I'm getting ready to say. I'm getting up earlier. It's weird.
What?
I don't know why. I don't know the connection.
Probably because you're sleeping better.
Maybe I'm sleeping better. Truly. I'm getting up earlier. I'm getting up. Making the bed, getting in the shower. I mean, I feel like it's
new
just,
woman.
it was just, my brain feels more settled in the morning.
Yeah.
It's the best way I can describe it. And in the evening too. And it really took probably 2 weeks for me to totally get used to just plugging the phone in the bathroom, and leaving it and not taking it in the bedroom with me. Now, I will say Daryl went hunting. And when he went hunting a couple nights, I did have it in my room because I wanted
To call 911.
Well, yeah, in case something happened.
I know, because you think everyone's out to get you.
True crime podcasts. I listen to a lot of them.
You do. All right, here's the next one. Through the holidays, practicing gratitude. So focusing on the positive things. So there's great things in your family.
Listen,
There's,
same thing all year long.
True.
I mean, listen, these are some of these things. If we just established in our life all year long, when we get to the holidays, they wouldn't be
100%.
Now, obviously, you might not be around some of these
all
people
these people all the time.
all
Yeah.
the time.
And there's not as much hype
Right,
and expectation and
right.
food.
Right.
Food.
Oh my gosh,
Love the
food.
food.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, here's number 7 is staying present. So avoid dwelling on the past. So
good.
often sometimes we can think about all the negative things. Now listen, we are advocates for counseling. So if someone has hurt you or broken a boundary with you, that's a whole different story.
Right.
But stay present. Be thinking
Yes.
about the people that you're with and enjoying your time
Yeah, that's
together.
good.
And here's the last one that I've already kind of touched on, but it gets its own point too, is have a plan B. Have an exit strategy, have an escape plan.
Yeah.
And if there, for whatever reason, someone crosses a boundary, feel free to leave.
Yeah.
Just
right.
feel free to leave.
Right.
So those are my 8 tips for you on how to have a great holiday
Yeah, that's
tomorrow.
good. That's good.
Maybe for you, you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I might need to have a conversation today. Make a phone call.
Yeah.
If it's going to make your day better.
Or just text a simple factual text if a
Yeah.
phone call won't work. Because sometimes, sometimes I have said things like, have a phone, call, don't text it. But there are situations that talking verbally might
Can make it
actually
harder. I agree.
make things
I agree.
explosive. So maybe just the text, it is a good call. I do think that sometimes we rely on texting too much and we don't have conversations enough.
Right.
Because again, tone. You
Mm-hmm.
can't read tone in a text.
Totally. Leanne, I have a closing question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're thinking about your meal tomorrow,
Okay.
what are the side dishes that your mouth is watering for?
Well, this is Amish Thanksgiving, so there's
Yeah.
so much food. I have to say, I always enjoy the turkey.
Yeah.
At Daryl's brother usually does the turkeys, and he's like doing all kinds of basting and stuffing and butter and crazy stuff to a turkey, and it's always just delicious. There's a trio, Matt. It's
Okay.
it's at the trifecta,
Okay.
and it's the Amish church noodles, the mashed potatoes, and the stuffing. And then my mother-in-law or Daryl's oldest sister usually makes the gravy, and I just kind of put a little bit of gravy on the dressing, and those 3 things together, because I kind of put a little bit on each bite. Oh,
Wow, you have a
carb
strategy.
I can't wait.
That is
and
awesome.
the desserts there are just always so impressive and delicious, and it's pies and puddings and date nut pudding and just wonderful Amish country things.
I love that.
Excited. What about you?
Well, for me right now, listen, I love stuffing.
Yeah,
I really do.
I do. I really do.
I love a good bread
Yeah, I do
stuffing.
too.
A little sage, a little
I want it
rosemary.
a little
I
bit
love
crispy though, Matt. I don't want my dressing mushy.
that. I disagree, but that's
you
fine.
do?
I still love
you. You want it wet and mushy?
Yeah, I do like a bready, moist.
Yeah, no, I want crispy.
You
I want
know-
a little bit of crisp.
Yeah, you
I
probably
want the
bake
top
it.
of it crispy and the edges of the pan crispy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bake it.
I do. love green bean casserole.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
I do too.
I love that. I also love mashed potatoes.
Oh.
And you know what else? Which, why don't I make this more? Is the corn pudding. I love like a good corn pudding with
I do
the
too.
cornbread mix
Yes.
in it.
A little bit of egg and,
Yes.
and dairy.
I'm here
Yes.
for that.
Yes.
And pumpkin pie. I
Yes.
love pumpkin
Yes.
pie. Hey, I know we've been talking about food,
Let's
but
talk
let's
about
talk about food. Hey, this is also your sign. Here's your sign. If you feel overwhelmed right now and you feel like you have too much stuff going on, check out the Walnut Creek Foods and Markets Bakery.
Yes.
They have pumpkin rolls. They have
Yes,
cinnamon rolls
yes.
for that
They have
Christmas
fruitcake.
morning.
They have fruitcake, delicious
I
fruitcake.
love. Listen. This is serious.
Incredible cinnamon rolls.
I didn't know about fruitcake before I was in your home. And I lived with you for a while.
Yeah.
We've talked about this
Yes.
before. And you brought home this fruitcake from Walnut
Yeah.
Creek Cheese and Market
Delicious.
that I love.
Yeah.
I love their
Yeah,
fruitcakes.
you can also get your bread there for your stuffing and your croutons, and there's they also right now specifically right now during the holiday season they have lovely gift boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to their website. You can check out their gift boxes online. You can call customer service. You could call
Yeah.
Walnut Creek Cheese and Markets customer service. Ask them about their gift boxes. You could probably get them for your office if you need more than just one or two or three.
Yes.
They have a wonderful gift box program there at Walnut Creek Cheese and Market. They have so many choices. It's
Here's
incredible.
the thing. We all have those people we don't know what to get for.
Yes.
Get gifts
I mean,
for.
who doesn't want cheese and jam and deliciousness
do.
beef jerky? I want all of it.
Same. Hey, so as you're doing some of your holiday shopping, let Walnut Creek Cheese and Market take some of the burden off of your plate. Make it a little easier on yourself and stop by there or check out their store online, Walnut Creek Foods, where you can get some things shipped to some of the people that you love.
And there's a locator page on that website.
Absolutely.
That you can put your zip code in. You can see where their products sold in your town.
Yes. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us in this conversation all about the holidays, the tension that can be around, and maybe some solutions for you. You know, as you head into the holiday season this year, and you're with maybe people you don't see all the time or family members, or you just find yourself in challenging situations, I hope that this conversation has helped you see that you have some control. You can set boundaries, you can have an exit strategy, and you can have hard conversations. Hey, we hope that you've enjoyed this with us. Leanne, I'm thankful for you.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm thankful for this podcast.
Yeah,
It's
me
been a
too.
fun 2 years or
Yes.
so.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Hey, well, whether ordinary or extraordinary, we hope you see that these are good days.
This episode brought to you by Walnut Creek Foods.